Hi, I'm here today with Alex Chaparro. She is our 2018 Vista Grande High School valedictorian, and we are doing a series called Where Are They Now?, where former students that graduated from Casa Grande Union High School District schools are going to be meeting with me and letting everybody know, where are you now? What's been going on since high school? Okay, so where did you go?
So I graduated, like you said, in 2018 and went on to Providence College in Providence, Rhode Island, where I earned my undergraduate degree in biochemistry.
Wow.
With honors.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, that's great. And so, very different from Arizona, right? So it was a great experience, huh?
Yeah.
But you came back here, right?
Yes, I'm back home for just a little while before I go on my many other adventures to pursue things.
That's great. Well, today she's here to talk to us about a few things. The workforce, since she's been involved in that, because right now you're currently working at
Sonora Quest as a medical lab technician.
Yeah, so all those blood tests and all of that you get, this is would you process them?
I get to do all the fun chemistry for the big doctors.
Oh my gosh.
Behind every great doctor is a great medical lab scientist.
Right, exactly. They couldn't do it without you, for sure. She's going to talk to us a little bit about college and then also about trade and technical schools, because college isn't for everyone. So before we get into that, what classes in high school do you think best prepared you for college?
I loved a lot of my AP classes, including like AP statistics, but I also loved some of the basics, like just my regular gen ed math classes, so I could figure out really what I liked and what I didn't like. I mean, my number one tip to everyone is always figure out what you don't like. It's hard to figure out when you're young what you do love, but if you can start to figure out the things that really are just not your jam, then that can help guide you in the right
That's a great
area.
perspective. I've never really thought of that before. I like that. Yes.
I didn't like history.
That's okay. Okay, and what do you think, what were some of your biggest surprises after high school?
Oh my goodness. How different the world is.
Especially on the East Coast.
Yes, yeah. People come from all different places and have really incredible cultures, but sometimes you can experience a little culture shock when you're like me and you've been living in the same place for your whole life.
Oh, I bet.
So that was fun to get to know different people and understand where they came from. And then also just understanding how different curriculum education is all over the United States.
Wow. Yeah.
A lot of the kids I went to school with came from a really wildly different education background.
Oh, wow. So for those of you who aren't in the education world, so Arizona has the Arizona State Standards, and so every school in Arizona adheres to those standards, but different states have different standards.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes, and I saw that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with workforce, and tell us your tips and tricks for navigating around all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if right out of high school you think that maybe just getting a job right away is for you, then here are some of the things I recommend. Number one, start building a really strong resume, and this honestly applies to just anybody. But on that resume, make sure to include all of your previous work experience, any cool internships you've had, extracurricular involvement, and any previous jobs that you've held. And finally, any certifications that you've gotten in high school. So if you've taken an AP class and you've gotten a 3 or above on an exam, totally put that on there. Your resume is built for you, and it's your opportunity to show employers the side of you that you want to show. So make sure you start building that really early on, and
in high school.
Yes.
So keep a list or a Word document or something, because you're going to forget things, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I also recommend to establish a really good cover letter template. A lot of jobs are cover letter optional, but I recommend if they give you the opportunity to write them a letter about why you're interested in the position, do it. Why not?
Yeah, it might give you that edge above somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally establish your availability schedule-wise. If for some reason you're wanting to do school and working at the same time, set your boundaries for yourself, know your limits, and make those a priority when you go into any interview with any potential employer.
Right. Oh, great. Okay, and then next we're going to go on to college. So if you choose to go to college,
yes, so the first thing to do is set a timeline. Do you want to be traditional or non-traditional? Like I said, you can take a gap year, join the workforce, or just power through and go right into your undergrad. Then from there, you want to decide what is most important to you. Is that location? Is that price? Is that educational quality? Once you set those standards for yourself, try not to deviate from them because that's what you want, so go for it. Make sure that you make a numbered list of all of these qualities and keep them not only through the application process, but after you get your results back and see who said yes to you and no to you. Have some tough conversations with your family about any financials, especially knowing how much your parents make with either combined tax income or solo tax income. Basically how they file their taxes is going to be really important to understand what kind of aid you might be being able to get. Now, the two big types of aid that you can get are...
This is important.
Yes. Merit-based aid, which is completely and entirely money that is given to you based on how well you do as a student. So, for example, when I went to Providence College, my college gave me a lump sum of money every semester to pay the entirety of my tuition so long as I kept, let's say, above a 3.5 cumulative GPA. Whatever money my parents made did not matter. So that was considered merit-based aid. It was a scholarship through my institution. Now, there's the other buzzwords for need-based aid, which is FAFSA, subsidized, unsubsidized loans, all of those, including institutional financial need-based loans, are all based on either your individual income, if you're emancipated, or your parents' or guardians' income and what they report on their taxes. So that money fluctuates through the years as your parents either make more money, less money, stay the same. They will change that dollar amount every semester, and every year they'll reevaluate it.
Okay.
Which for me, I didn't want to have to depend on my parents' financial position to make sure I was getting my college paid for, which is why I personally applied to schools that I knew had merit-based aid options available.
Okay, great. And scholarships. Are you going to be talking about scholarships?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
My biggest, I guess, piece of advice for scholarships is stay local if possible.
Okay.
We have so many wonderful organizations and opportunities, not only here in Casa Grande, not only in the Valley, but in the state of Arizona altogether, that the more you can stay local with corporations or organizations like Kiwanis Club or the Border Patrol, the more that you're going to be able to know that the people who are interviewing you care about you and are giving you money that is going towards your education and your dreams and goals.
And many of those local organizations will give you money for all 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? If they've awarded you the money the first year, and you have that good relationship with them, they'll more than likely give the same scholarship for the continuing years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I know it's really difficult with like online options right now because everyone will say go to scholarship.com, go to these different websites, and there are wonderful, reputable national and international scholarships that are a little bit more difficult to get, but again, totally reputable. It's just hard to wade through the ones that are reputable and not. So that's why I always recommend, as much as you can, stay local or do what I did, which is look at institutional scholarships, where if you apply to the college, they automatically put that application in for a possible scholarship. I believe ASU does that, U of A does that, my school did that, so it's no work on your end and possible money.
And on the Casa Grande Union High School District website, you will find under counseling, you'll find all kinds of scholarship opportunities utilize your counselors for that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally. And make sure that not only are you going to your counselors for scholarship ideas, but kind of reaching out to just teachers and mentors in general, because you have to keep in mind that you'll have to get those recommendation letters if you plan on applying for any in-state or out-of-state college.
I think a good piece of advice too is do get those letters of recommendations from those teachers. Make copies of them and have a file where you have all those copies, so that way when you go to submit these scholarships, you don't have to go back to the teacher and say, oh, can I get another letter of recommendation? You already have all of that. So
yeah, absolutely. Keeping a file folder of all of those
Yes.
things and staying organized is one of the
staying
hardest
organized
parts.
is key. Yes.
100%. And then my last biggest thing to talk about is standardized testing. So post-COVID, the whole environment of applying to college has definitely changed, because now a lot of institutions are becoming what's called test optional. So you don't necessarily need to give them an ACT or SAT standardized test score to be considered for as an applicant. My biggest thing is always, one, if you get free lunch, you get a fee waiver from your counselor. So the tests are free. I know they're
that's
kind
very
of
important to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I know they're kind of difficult to access because I don't know if we have any testing centers here in Casa Grande.
I'm not sure.
When I did it, we didn't.
Okay.
I had to drive to Hamilton.
Not that I know of. My son had to drive to Hamilton also. Yes.
Yes. So you'll have to get a ride, but I'm sure people that support you will make it happen.
Yes.
But if you can take the exam, just get your scores back and go from there. I think that a lot of people get test anxiety and have these premonitions about how well they're going to do, how not well they're going to do, and end up doing much better than they think.
And what test was that you took at Hamilton, just so they know?
I took the ACT.
The ACT. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And so I think that if you can get a semi-decent score on any of those, it's great to show the colleges that you are putting your best foot forward. And one of the big buzzwords that a lot of institutions are looking for is the holistic applicant. So for some reason, you have a part-time job all throughout high school and maybe didn't get as many resources to study for the SAT or ACT as your peers, you can describe that on your college essays, and they will take that into consideration, and you'll be just as likely as the person sitting to the left of you that had an ACT or SAT tutor to get into the school of your dreams.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good to know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. So. All right, and then technical and trade schools. So if college just isn't for you, or you know exactly what you want to do, and you're just going to go into a technical or trade school to know more about this, to get those skills for that job, what do you have? What kind of tips do you have for that?
Well, the first thing I want to plug is Cabot. They're an
Yes.
incredible program, and their ability to get students their certifications, and whether it be medical assisting or dental assisting or whatever it be, is incredible, because that can be your first foot in the door to moving on to, let's say, dental hygiene school or getting your PA. It's a great first step to find out if you really like what you're doing. So Cabot is a wonderful opportunity. If you can fit it in your schedule, I would totally recommend that.
And they provide transportation
Yeah.
for you, and the high school works with your schedule for that.
100%, yeah. From there, after graduation, trade school applications kind of are year-round, rotating, so depending on the trade school that you're looking at going into. But the great thing about it is there's a lot of trade school specific scholarships. So for example, if I wanted to become an HVAC technician, there are tons of HVAC specific technician scholarships that you can apply to online that will create a smaller applicant pool, because there's not as many people wanting to be HVAC technicians, and make the chances of you getting that money for school a lot higher.
Wow.
So I would totally recommend looking into specific scholarships, finding what you're passionate about, and then understanding that deadline. costs can vary anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 for trade schools, but on the back end right now, the workforce is really looking for people with trade skills.
Plumbers, electricians, welders, HVAC, yes, all of
Fashion
those.
design, you name it. I mean, a lot of things that people think you need to have an undergraduate degree for, not necessarily. The job I'm in now as a medical lab technician, you can just get a certificate and do exactly what I'm doing post-undergrad. So there are a million opportunities to just get certificates or technical trade schools and then be able to join the workforce a lot quicker if undergrad's not for you.
Right. And at the high schools we have wonderful CTE programs. So we actually have showcases going on this week at both campuses on Vista and Casa Grande Union, and they are showcasing all the different. We have construction, we have stage production, along with the CAVIT, medical. So we have agriculture. We have lots of CTE options, and once again, on the website, you just go to the programs and you will see everything we have to offer that really will help you decide what it is that you want to be when you grow up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so one other thing is you decided to do a military route as well, so tell us about that.
Yes, on top of everything that I've done, I joined ROTC when I was a sophomore in college for the U.S. Army. So I was a cadet for that period of time, and then when I graduated, I commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. So I am in the Colorado National Guard right now. Yep, and there are so many incredible opportunities in the military, any of the branches. I guess my biggest piece of advice for that is do your research and ask 1,000,001 questions. I promise you, it's important. It's your future and your career.
And the recruiters are so great. They're prepared with all of those answers, and just to find out what the best fit is for you. So the military is an honorable option, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming and meeting with us today. It was fabulous to meet you, and we'll definitely keep in touch, and maybe we'll do a part 2 sometime and that type of thing. What do you have going for the future?
I will be getting deployed in the upcoming year.
Okay.
Yep, but once I get back, the plan is to attend physician's assistant school.
Oh, that's great. I had a former student, I taught in Stanfield, and I had a former student who joined the Air Force right after high school, and she's a physician's assistant.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. So you kind of remind me of her a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, so anyway, well, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.